So I'm about to have my first sensory deprivation float tank experience. This is the tank behind me. And they recommend you take a shower before you get in, so I'm about to rinse off and I'll hop in and I'll let you know the report when it's over. So this is my review of my first float experience at the sensory deprivation tank in the Halcyon in Roxborough, Pennsylvania. I think it was probably everything I expected it to be. Nothing miraculous or spiritual happened to me. First, when I got there, he had me shower, and then I just kind of got all the oils and whatever's on my skin washed off. And then you get into the tank with a little button that turned the light off in the tank, so you had control over whether or not you kept the light on or off. A pool noodle if you wanted something for your neck, and then a water bottle. I got into the tank, and it's kind of slippery because it's 10 inches of 900,000 pounds of salt. So it's tons of salt. And I probably have the number wrong, but it's pretty close. And so when you're in, you're completely naked. You float. You're completely suspended in the water. This particular tank was 9 feet long and 4 feet wide. So, you didn't touch the edges unless you kind of drifted over that way. At that point, you just kind of pushed away from the wall just a little bit. But at some point, as I started drifting kind of deeper and deeper away from, I don't know any other way to describe it, but reality. So, all the sensory input that we get day in and day out, it was completely dark. There was no noise, no smell. I couldn't tell where the water ended and the air began because it was heated to the same temperature. So I literally felt like I was suspended in nothingness. And I had earplugs in, just so that you couldn't hear the water kind of rushing around you. When you get in, the water's kind of ripply, and you have to let it settle. So the earplugs kind of help you drown out that sound. But I could still hear myself breathing, so I continued to breathe, as normal. But the tank itself, this particular tank, and this is different than most, but it was kind of shaped like a tandem bed, and that the whole side came up and down. So I was able to close that, and I was able to open that. So I felt in total control. The handle was on the inside, so I wasn't claustrophobic like I thought I would be. And there was a light outside the tank that I could see at first, and then at some point during my float, that light got turned off. So it was completely dark, and there were times where I didn't know if my eyes were open or closed except to reach up and touch. It was so completely silent. This is gonna sound nuts, I swear to God. There were times when I was moving my eyes around, and I don't know if my eyes were open or closed, like I said, but I could hear my eyeballs moving in their sockets. And the moment of realization that I was like, I can hear my eyeballs moving was nuts. I mean, that absolutely blew my mind, that it was that quiet, that little bit of noise was more than it took to bring me back out of total relaxation. So you get an hour and a half at this particular location. I don't know how it is at most, but I would imagine that's probably average. And at some point I disconnected, and I reconnected and realized that I was back in the float tank. But there was a time where I'd forgotten that I was floating. I was that relaxed. My muscles would twitch in my legs and in my back and in my arms, as if to wake my body up. Like, not a jerk like you get when you are falling asleep, but like a twitch. Like my muscles were saying, hey, are you alive? Because we're pretty relaxed and we're not touching anything. So the only way I know how to describe the actual float itself is it's the most comfortable bed you've ever been in. Like, it's not too hard, not too soft, because you're literally suspended in that 10 inches of warm water. And it was 97 degrees, I think, is what the temperature gauge said when I got out. So it's, you know, body temperature. And then they heat the air in the room to the same. So it's, you know, your body can't tell the difference between air and water. And then when I got out, I did get out a little early. Normally they would slowly play the music a little bit louder and louder until you wake up. But I woke up a little early, like 5 minutes early, he said, and went ahead and I took my shower, and I will definitely take a brush next time because I did not have one, and this is a hot mess. I didn't think about that. So I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to go straight back to my hotel. But anyway, I would definitely do it again. It was great relaxation. I felt like I was in there for a long time. I feel very rested. I'm very thirsty, so I've been trying to hydrate a lot. I'm sure the salt and magnesium in the water has, you know, somewhat dehydrated me or made me have the sensation of thirst. So I'm looking forward to my next time. I'll definitely do it again. And absolutely recommend it to anybody who is, one, a control freak. My husband gets mad at me when I count with my thumbs. Control freak. And you need to just let loose. Somebody who's claustrophobic, because this is a great way for you to get past that. You are in total control, but you have to learn how to calm yourself, because it is dark, and it is a tube, and it is enclosed. So it is a great way to learn how to self-relax, and work on your breathing and calm down and try to get past your anxieties. And anybody who feels that the sensory input that they get day in and day out is sometimes a little overwhelming, if you are borderline on the spectrum and sensory input is overwhelming to you and you need to hit the reset button and disconnect, highly recommend this. This is a great way to relax without being touched, like a massage. Some people just don't like to be touched. This is a great way to relax, decompress, let your spine decompress, and completely disconnect from yourself. So it's an out-of-body experience is the only way I know how to describe it. And I'm totally looking forward to doing it again. Thanks.